9.2 millimeters closed, 4.5 open. That is the thinnest thing Apple has ever built. 10 leaks, and I am rating everyone. Locked, likely, or shaky. Because half of what you have been told about this phone is one person guessing and nobody tells you which half. Number 1. The screens. 5.49 inches outside, 7.76 inside, both at 4x3. 4x3 is the detail everyone skips. This thing is wider than it is tall. Closed, it is a passport. Open, it is an iPad mini that fits in a pocket. If you want to know how that feels in the hand, it is close to a Z Fold. Same shape, same idea, same question about what your other hand is doing. Locked. Supply chain reports agree, Digital Chat Station has posted the same figures, and McRumors rates the book-style design as a solid rumor rather than a maybe. Number 2, the Crease. And this is the real reason Apple waited 6 years. Every foldable has that value. You feel it every single time you scroll. Samsung Display built a panel for this phone with a crease under 0.15 millimeters deep at under 2.5 degrees. And they showed it in public. At CES in January, they put the new panel next to a Galaxy Z Fold 7. People who saw both said the new one had no visible crease at all. The trick is a laser-drilled metal plate underneath, spreading the bending stress across a wide area instead of loading all of it onto one line. Likely, the panel is real and it was demonstrated. What nobody can promise is what it looks like after 2 years in your pocket. Number 3, the build. 9.2 folded, 4.5 open. An iPhone 17 Pro Max is about 8.9. So folded, this is barely thicker than a phone you already know. The frame is titanium, and this time that is not a marketing war. At 4.5 millimeters, a softer metal simply bends. The hinge is the interesting part. Apple is reported to be using liquid metal, amorphous alloy. The atoms sit in a random arrangement instead of a grid, which makes it harder to bend, dent, or deform, and reportedly tougher than titanium alloy. Likely, Apple has held liquid metal rights for over a decade and has mostly used it to make SIM ejector tools. This would be the first time it actually mattered. Number 4, and this is the big one, no Face ID on a $2,000 iPhone. Touch ID comes back instead, built into the power button, the way it works on an iPad Air. Every iPhone since 2017 has had Face ID. This one will not. And the reason is that number from a minute ago. Mark Gurman at Bloomberg reports it is a depth problem. Face ID needs a flood illuminator, a dot projector, and an infrared camera stacked behind the glass. At 4.5 millimeters, there is nowhere to put them, and you can see the decision. On the 7th of June, leaker Sonny Dixon published photos of a dummy unit with the Touch ID button sitting right there on the edge. Locked. Multiple independent reports and a physical mock-up you can look at. Number 5, 4 cameras, and that number is doing a lot of work. 2 on the back, 1 on the outer screen, 1 on the inner screen. So really, 2 cameras and 2 selfie cameras. 48 megapixel wide, 48 megapixel ultra wide, and no telephoto, no zoom lens at all. The Pro iPhones have had 3 lenses since 2019. This one costs nearly twice as much and has 2. And there is one more thing on that dummy. No MagSafe ring. No magnets visible anywhere on the back. On the most expensive iPhone ever made, that is a strange place to save room. Locked on the cameras, likely on the missing MagSafe. Number 6, the battery. And this is where the ratings earn their keep. You have probably heard 4,883. 2 cells added together. Very precise, very confident. Another set of reports says 5,800. That is a 900 gap, which on a phone this size is not a rounding error, it is a different product. Shaky. Both numbers are being repeated with exactly the same confidence, and they cannot both be right. And one small thing, because it is everywhere, that figure is milliamp hours. Milliamp hours, it is capacity. Milliamps on their own are a completely different measurement. Number 7, the A20 Pro, and this one is a genuine jump. Built on TSMC's N2 process, 2 nanometer. Everything in your pocket right now is 3. Estimates put it about 15% faster than the A19 Pro, with up to 30% lower power draw. On a foldable, that second number matters far more than the first. Apple is also moving to wafer-level packaging for the first time, putting the processor and the memory together at the wafer before the chip is even cut out. And Apple has reportedly booked more than half of TSMC's entire 2 nanometer capacity. Not half of what Apple needs, half of what exists. 12 gigabytes of memory beside it, locked. Number 8, the C2 modem. And this is the leak people are underrating. Apple's 2nd generation modem is expected to support non-terrestrial networks, that is 5G over satellite. Right now, satellite on an iPhone means an emergency text. Tell somebody you are alive. This would be different. Reports point at real internet access when there is no network at all, which, if it lands, is worth more than the folding screen. There are plenty of places where the network simply is not there, and no camera spec helps you. Likely on the modem. The satellite data part is the piece to watch, because the phone having the hardware and your network switching it on are two very different days. Number 9, and this one is quietly funny. That dummy Sonny Dixon published came in one color, white, and he said it plainly. It does not look like Apple will offer multiple colors. The most expensive iPhone ever made, and you may not get to pick what it looks like. Macromos rates the two finish rumor as a maybe, not a certainty. So expect white or silver and a dark one if you're lucky. Storage is reported up to 1 terabyte. If you have heard 2 terabytes somewhere, that is not what the supply chain is saying. Shaky. Colors are the last thing Apple locks down and the first thing leakers get wrong. Number 10, the price. The band everybody quotes is $2,000 to $2,500. Ming Chi Kuo, who has the strongest supply chain record in this business, sits at the top of it, $2,300 to $2,500, and he still expects demand to hold. At the top of that range, you are north of 3 million naira before anybody has said the word customs. The iPhone 18 Pro is expected around 1,300, so this is close to 2 Pros. For one phone with one fewer camera on the back, locked on the range. Nobody credible is arguing for under 2,000. Now the part that is missing from every other video about this phone. You are being told it launches next month. It is being announced next month. Those are not the same sentence. Post supply chain checks put third quarter shipments between 500,000 and 1 million units total worldwide. In that same quarter, Apple is assembling 20 to 22 million iPhone 18 Pros, 7 to 8 million foldables for the whole second half of the year against the entire planet. Kuo's own comparison is the iPhone 10, announced with everything else, sold much later, gone the moment it appeared. Buying this will feel less like buying an iPhone and more like buying a Vision Pro. And one more thing before you fall in love with it. On the Galaxy Z Fold 7, the inner folding screen costs around $890 for the parts alone. No labor. iFixit scored that phone 3 out of 10 for repairability, among the worst it has ever recorded. Nobody has iPhone Fold repair pricing because the phone does not exist yet, but there is no reason on earth to expect Apple's version to be cheaper or the parts easier to find. So that is the 10. Screens, Touch ID, cameras, chip and price, locked. Crease, build and satellite, likely. Battery and colors, shaky. So ignore anybody quoting them like scripture. Now be honest with me. 3 million naira, 2 cameras, no Face ID, 1 color. Is that a phone you actually want? Or a phone you want to have seen? Tell me in the comments. And I went through every iPhone 18 rumor the same way, rated 1 by 1. That one is on screen now.